Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, the 5th of June, 2022, and really busy weekend. I went on that river cruise on Friday. It was a lot of fun. Um, just things tend to get political and or controversial, no matter where you go, and so it. But luckily, I was able to kind of avoid any kind of drama or any like interaction regarding things that were kind of brought up and shared that I obviously I'm on the other side of that opinion. And so, for example, on Friday, I won't say what group, but I was with some government people, but that were also there with people that were not government people too, right? So like people were there with their partners or friends, and so it is what it is. Great time. But just one of the conversations was surrounding people that were getting released and going through Veterans Affairs and the release program because they chose not to get vaccinated for many different reasons. And because I have hundreds, if not thousands, of soldiers and law enforcement and nurses and people that are like that were firefighters, EMS and like across the board, social workers, psychologists, scientists, doctors, lawyers, and this is globally, but a lot in Canada too, just because I served for 15 years and I was all over the place, and so you get to know a lot of people that way, and I had responsibility for a lot of people, and so again, you just get more known, and I was like one of the first, anyway. But yeah, so the conversation was very dismissive though of the unvaccinated people, and just saying like very dismissive, like they made their own choice. They could have got vaccinated, so I have no sympathy or pity for them. You know what I mean? Like I'll basically essentially just like I'll tolerate the fact that I have to, be in their existence and around them, because I want a job, and I think I'm the person that's doing the right thing, but yeah, it was just very like just a very cold interaction, and I didn't respond to that, and I moved on to, well, it's great that you're assisting with helping them anyways get work, but it just didn't really seem like she was going to put a lot of effort into that, like, let me tell you. But it is what it is, and she seemed like a very nice person, and so it's just it just makes me just think that, like, it's a shame that, like, there are people, that can impact change or are in positions to impact change in all levels of government or other work, and getting paid by people like me, and I'm hearing them, like, even to my face, not knowing if I'm vaccinated or not, slamming and dismissing the people that are likely, like, if she would give names, I'd probably know them, and I'm probably one of the ones that told them to hold the line. And just to give time and space and stuff like that too. So there's so many different like layers to pandemic response and virus response and biological, chemical, nuclear threats. And I don't know if I said biological or not, but it's like this. And so, and I shared information right from the beginning saying that this was leaked from the Wuhan lab in China, and I was censored, like all my posts deleted, accounts removed, and things like that, and kept on sharing or trying to. And and then again, people like me that insist that we look at this, because people were completely being lied to by the social media, mainstream media, globally. And so, if people like me weren't insisting to get this information out and actually share it with people, and a lot of people were risking their lives because they're not in as safe of an environment like I am in Ottawa, Canada, for example. And even watching a lot of my videos too, there are people in other countries that it's literally risking their lives, and or like the risk of getting arrested because of what I say goes against health policies of their country, and they have just stricter measures of policing their own and things like that. And again, it's across the board, because there's even countries in the world that don't have militaries, like Costa Rica, I think, is one example. And anyway, and there are other areas. So like, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, and so just so I probably know them. I probably gave them 10-page memorandums with like so many different links to legal data, medical, scientific, governmental that was given to me from people that are risking their lives, or were like from multiple different countries, and going off of like uncensored browsers and like different types of IP addresses, and like screen capturing medical data that was released, or leaked emails and leaked photos and leaked videos, and going on Telegram and Signal, and trying to share this information and putting ourselves out there to give it to government, because we were and are veterans, a lot of people too, and or people that were being actively like charged in their like, especially military and police and fire. I can speak a lot on that, because, or I could share all the messages and all the data to people as well. And so if I gave her that information, for example, like all the links to the data that I had compiled and given to multiple levels of government, she would I would hope that she would have a different opinion on the intent of resisting things that may or may not be good for the entire population, let alone not only not resisting it, but then also enforcing it on your own, and then enforcing it on others in that country, like in such a small frame of time, just very dangerous. And so like, we're not supposed to be so reactive. And after a few weeks, honestly, of this leaked virus that came out, this virus that was manipulated, genetically engineered, and this is also stuff that I can share to people as well. All the videos and research, it's out there, and if you're looking on Google and government, still, and just remaining connected to a Canadian browser or IP address, I do think that you need to resign. I honestly do, because you are actually you are a danger to us, because you are supposed to be the ones that are researching things and able to surpass or override like any kind of like cyber security threats or risk, and mitigate that. And if you're not even going off of Google, that's so low level. And intelligence. And so like what, and so you're like, so troops that I'm still friends with, and like that are like family to me, that are still serving, like in various capacities, like you're gonna like give them Google, like that's gonna be or you're gonna watch CTV or CBC, and like that's where you're gonna get your information, when you should know that the media manipulates facts and data in order to elicit like an emotional response and get viewers, and their paid advertisement by groups. And we give that information as well to people, like $600 million, for example, annually, and it's up more now. And we have our leader like saying that to people, and then it's recorded, and then it's shared, and people are just, nope, I don't care. And then just the messaging too, with like even removing firearms, and I talked about that in another video, is just like another post, I guess, in the I don't know, in the containment camp or whatever of Canada that could possibly happen. And if people could take a look outside of their own distractions in their own individual lives, because a lot of people are going through health issues or family issues or work issues, and they're allowing it in government to distract them from, again, getting information that I'm readily giving to them, to a lot of them, or have, and if they're not doing the same things that I'm doing to get information, with multiple contacts internationally and things like that, I just this is more for you guys, because I know a lot of people do watch stuff like this during times like this, because they think that we're a threat. But like I'm saying, the opposite of that is true. Oh yeah, and so like when we rush something like the mRNA vaccines that just were being rolled out, just before that there was Ebola, and that didn't catch on as much as the coronavirus, because they learned that as soon as things are patterns recognition is complete, and assessments made, then there's possibly other ways to relay things and leak things. And so even 10 years ago in Africa, there was polio and HIV that was introduced, because there was like a case or a couple of cases within an area that was leaked there, and then once these therapeutics were initially given, it caused a lot of adverse side effects, and like millions of people, and then they were actually shedding and spreading to people that were not vaccinated and causing issues too. And so you can look at this yourself. And they called it at that point in time the epidemic or pandemic of the vaccinated, and then they flipped that messaging for this one. And so if you don't have like at least even a control group within a population that can be like the people that kind of don't just like, I guess not succumb, but like don't like follow what's being given, then there's like less people are going to be held accountable or going to like put more effort into considering that, you know, like these, like, there's not going to be enough or as much research and data being collected to make sure that these things are not harmful to the entire population. And so when you say that you want to inoculate the entire world with mRNA vaccines, when original trials for the last, you know, decade even have not been great at all, then of course there's going to be, you know, certain people in all levels of you know, of the world and positions and titles and occupations and belief systems that are going to like not want to have that in their bodies. And there's I have the links and the data to asymptomatic versus symptomatic spread, asymptomatic versus symptomatic spread, and how any form of illness or vaccine or anything that you introduce to your body or exposed to, it's ingredient dependent, and we don't have enough control measures in place yet for these specific ones still, and they're still under emergency use authorization until 2023. And that's also why people also resist or hold firm if they're healthy and they're able to, because they're not at risk of spreading to other people. They're not at risk of being, you know, a stat. It's like 98 point whatever percent, you know, like a survival rate or whatever you want to call it. And we're finding out a lot more information, right, that may or may not have been released to the public had people not like at least said like, hey, we need to like get this information out, question this, and then just make sure that we're making proper correlations and causations and reporting things accurately and it's transparency throughout. And there's been pandemics throughout the world before. And, you know, there was like 50% survival rate, 93% survival, death rate, flip that. And so, because again, well, not because again, but because of teaching things or creating packages like hostile environment awareness training, critical incident stress management, standing rapid deployment team courses, etc., use of force, and things like that. I'm just like, I just always need to be current and aware of that. Even my own data that I'm given could be misleading and or reinforcing me into a belief system or an ideology that's going to make me act in a way that's possibly not conducive to good outcomes for the future, even though it looks like it may be in the offset. And so anyway, I know I'm rambling on about all this stuff, but and then yeah, so symptomatic versus asymptomatic, host and ingredient dependent. I'm super healthy, and so yeah, any virus or disease that I'm exposed to, I'm generally going to be better at like healing from it than someone that's not as healthy as me, for example. And that's just a reality, and I can give plenty of stats on that, scientific, peer-reviewed journals, medical data, government data that was released, and videos and footage of people having committees and panels and stuff like that, and watching live CDC and World Health Organization and WEF meetings and stuff like that, and whereas people don't pay attention to these things because they don't have to, because they don't, that's not their jobs, right? And so it's up to our government to be there more for the people and not so much for profit and greed, and all of these therapeutic companies, they're tied to you know, government people that are in government right now, very certain ones, not all obviously, but certain ones that are in the key positions. So maybe they're being blinded by profit and greed and what they feel about us as citizens and or as human beings, that they're not able to properly manage us and consider things like, you know, people who are you know, deeply spiritual, that don't want to get this therapeutic, and they're not a danger to anyone, or religious reasons, or health, for whatever reason, then we should be allowing them to do that. And I keep on getting this question about like about immunocompromised people and being exposed to them being unvaccinated. And I'm like, it's the exact same thing if you were vaccinated. Actually, not like, I'm under the opinion too that if you are, depending on when you got vaccinated, there's a period of time in there where you can actually cause spread of the virus and or other ones, because in the trials that were released in March, 4.6% of people that were healthy and of a healthy age group contracted COVID. I shared that information. There's still no proof that we're able to isolate variants. And so, yes, there are viruses, but like, I think we still need to question variants, because there are strong arguments, and I can share these videos as well of doctors with years of experience and scientists saying that they have tried to isolate variants and specific ones and stuff like that. And they have never been able to, nor have they communicated with other people that have. And in fields where they're supposed to, right? And so a lot of people tend to more now like not question anything, because we're told at a very young age that everything's already been figured out. Science is already figured out. Space is already figured out. We are already figured out, and we're not, right? Like, and even the brain, like, we're rediscovering just how important, like electricity and magnetism and the sun and in our environment and in our gut and our health and our what we eat and all this deeply impacts our brain and all interesting things. And so oh yeah, and then vaccines, these specific ones too, that are causing are making people be immune compromised too. So that's one of the side effects as well. And so, and also if people that are getting boosted or that have been boosted in studies out of Israel and UK and Italy and I don't know about Canada yet, but in places in the US as well, not only has there been been released that there was a lot more waning immunity than we even were led to believe even a few months ago, which was about 4 months they were saying, but it's now actually a few weeks. And again, I'll say that it's host and ingredient dependent, because if you're not healthy in your own life in other ways, your body is already trying to heal other things and focus on other things and adjust to other things to maintain that homeostasis balance it's supposed to be in. And then if you're introducing something else, again, it's just going to respond even it's just we can't overload our body so much, because that also causes issues. And so if a vaccine that we're all getting forced to inoculate ourselves with, and we're not even aspirating needles in North America to make sure that it remains intramuscular versus cellular, or like in the blood and intravenously, sorry. And this is happening, right? And when you're not aspirating needles to like push back and see if there's any blood in, then you don't know if you're hitting a vessel or not. And they're large needles. They're in like especially children, they're very small, and so the risk of hitting vessels in muscles is higher than people think. And some really good scientific research out there suggests that 1 in every 4,000 to 6,000 people possibly could like for the stats would get an intravenous vaccine administered by intramuscular. And it's also more studies have been released through Pfizer that shares that within like 48 hours it does leave the deltoid anyways and go throughout the body, and it's causing inflammatory issues in a lot of people, and they're correlating or associating that with the virus itself, which is a genetically manipulated or altered virus. So we still have to address that, and we're not correlating that with these side effects and the myocarditis and pericarditis, and even friends and family personally that are experiencing this. It's unfortunate. And so yeah, and so someone that's immunocompromised, if they do get a vaccine, any type of therapeutic, they're generally not able to elicit like such a robust immune response as someone that's healthy, just because they're dealing with other things. And so me being vaccinated or not, like that's not like that has no there's no correlation to like I'm not a threat or a danger to someone that is immunocompromised just because I'm not vaccinated, for so many different reasons. But because first of all, I don't have the virus. Second of all, I'm healthy. So even with asymptomatic spread, I've shared a lot of research on that. It's very rare that people that are asymptomatic or healthy, if they're in an environment with even people that are exposed and symptomatic, like a lot of people, it's rare that they even contract it in an exposed environment. And I know these studies are go against that narrative in Canada and the US. in the UK, surprisingly, but I looked at the data that was shared with me. I was able to show the conflict of interests, the areas of concern, and then provide information that debunked and data that debunked the trials and the research and the information that was given to me, and it's not being considered. So I also don't think that's fair. So like I think that people that are just saying follow the science, need to really possibly consider that they also need to not just listen to someone say follow the science, who may or may not have a lot of reasons to say that, and not a whole lot of reasons to be honest. And we have a lot of people that have conducted criminal activities throughout this. Specific people, again, not everyone in government, but like there's specific key people that are in positions to impact change and be honest with us that haven't been, and they still they're not, and they've been given every opportunity to, and instead of doing that, they just make people more divisive towards the unvaccinated, for example, instead of understanding that like no group can be 100% dominated anyways in life. That's just like an irresponsible like mentality to have, right? Because there's going to be groups of people that that don't want to or not able to. If you're immunocompromised, like it could provide, like elicit a response in your body to give you, like a weakened immunity, and then like a boost in immunity because of that, like a shock to the system. But then again, with waning, yeah, of course, I'm going with that. And so yeah, that's your own thing. And so like I really do think that there's a lot more we have to consider versus just like this one narrative of like painting people like either as black or white, when there's a lot of gray, and there's always going to be a lot of gray, right? And there's people like throughout history and even now that want there to be 100% of every population to be straight, and that's not going to happen either, because throughout history, every religion, every culture, for thousands of years that I can see, there's like way too much out there that show me that not only is there a first of all, and there's a biological component to that as well, right? Like 10 to 15% of any species have like these like more homosexual tendencies and curiosities and relationships, and so like and that's humans as well. So throughout history, there have been homosexual couples that had like made great innovations, created great philosophical pieces, musical pieces, creative artistic pieces. So I don't know why I don't know why, again, like we feel the need as a society or as a world to like try to completely remove that from our species, when like it's working just fine in every other species. It's worked just fine for us. In fact, it benefited us in many ways as well. And as long as as long as the majority of a species procreates and helps those the offspring thrive in their environment in a good way or whatever, then I think that's the trick, right? Like I feel like the more restrictions and rules and judgment and hate and divisiveness that we put on groups just because they're a minority, either a perceived one because of visual cues, or because of these verbal cues, like calling specific people specific names and the messaging being very negative when it's just very misleading. And we did that in Europe. We did that in Latin America, and people are just trying to isolate this to like one specific country in Europe, for example, instead of seeing that they were moving their headquarters people and their governmental groups of all levels into every single other country in that in that area, and just like allowing people to be murdered, and we've done that with so many different groups here as well, and instead of like truly addressing what we've done, even with I'm saying humans. When I say we, I'm saying humans. With in various different indigenous cultures here, even in Canada alone, like unless we address this in a meaningful, genuine way and find ways to help everyone here and unify us, while also like embracing and enhancing and admiring and respecting each other's various different unique individual cultures or ideologies or belief sets and things like that, and see that the more we cooperate and bring these these different views or things, the more we've always benefited. And we need to cooperate and be able to trust each other, and also understand that there's always going to be bad apples in any group and people on any extreme. So whether that be the behavioral extreme, where you got the left where it's overly agreeable, which is not good, or the right where it's overly aggressive, which is not good, or the sociopaths versus the psychopaths, where there's the like, yeah, lack of emotion versus like over emotional. Like again, like throughout the world, like there's always going to be a majority, right? Like even with blood groups, like with negative versus positive blood groups, like left-handed versus right-handed people. So I'm just saying, biologically speaking, there seems to be more benefit of cooperating with me. For example, I'm left-handed. I have family and friends that are right-handed. I know, right? Oh my God, no, but and we get along just fine. I love them, and they love me. I have friends and family that have brown eyes or hazel eyes or blue eyes. We all love each other. Different hair colors, different everything, and yeah. So like I don't know. Like if we look at things in more of a positive way, where there's more like love and peace and like less judgment on things where that could possibly like serve you and benefit you, and then you're just maybe not paying attention to it, then I think that's where we can all work together. Oh yeah, the immune compromised people, again, I go on all these tangents, but we're seeing that people are getting more and more immunocompromised the more of this like these vaccines for COVID, the more we inoculate people with them, and they're not getting their white blood cells that are regrowing, which helps with like inflammation and fighting off viruses and illnesses and stuff like that too, right? And so there's going to be a period of time between inoculations where people might get sick depending on what they got as the ingredients within, because even stuff that I've shared that I can share to other people, there's been recall because of the batches being silicone, because of having heavy metals in them, because of having other viruses in them, and I can share this data that people can consider if they want to, and see that this is actually the case. And so this is why we need to ensure that proper measures are put in place so that across the board we're getting things that are going to help us and not harm us. And so if we're going to just keep dividing people, saying like, oh, like I'm immunocompromised, or that person's immunocompromised, so I don't want to be around any unvaccinated person. But like, what if you were immunocompromised because you took too many of these vaccines and you're suffering from some of the same side effects that many other people are reporting, and that your solution for me to risk me becoming immunocompromised and have to rely on being inoculated every several months, I feel that that's also incredibly selfish. And I don't think that you should expect that of me when I'm not a risk to you at all. And you would be more of a risk to me. So if you contracted a virus, you'd be likely more symptomatic if you were immunocompromised, because again, your body's just dealing with a lot more inflammation and stuff that it has to work through. So the possibility of you spreading, what you've already built up a lot of various illness and disease, spreading it to me is actually like more likely than someone that is like not as immunocompromised. And so I don't think that people that decided to take something that may have caused side effects adversely, like being immunocompromised, I don't think that they should just like dismiss that it might be that, and then continue to push and say that that people that are not vaccinated are selfish or inconsiderate and stuff like that too. When there's a lot of arguments, again, even for getting vaccinated, that 4.6% of the population in that research study that I can share with people that I already have contracted the virus and could have spread it to others as well. And so so again, even with that, like, so now you also want me, now that I'm not vaccinated, you also want me to, now that I know that information because it's been shared to everyone, you want me to inoculate myself when there's that 4.6% chance that I could get the vaccine from this shared proof, when there's like a lower chance of me, like there's a better chance of me like not getting the virus, just like living my own life. Like there's more of a chance of me getting the virus by a vaccine, proven now, than it is for me just not getting it. And I've said that for a little while now. Now that there's more proof out there that was being released because they wanted to release this 75 years from now, and there's been too many lawsuits and too much pressure, and a few people that have died or gone missing, and so we have to like respect that. They had no choice but to release the information sooner, and so a lot of people lost a lot of money off of this, and the one just before this they were trying to with Ebola, and I think the more we're cautious, even with the monkeypox, there was chimpanzee adenovirus, partial virus in a lot of the COVID vaccines too. And if you want to look at my Instagram, like I've shared some labels that's been shared as well, from the different vaccines that show, and then the studies and the reports and the proof. So, and then they're saying monkeypox, but is it monkeypox or did someone get a vaccine that had that the partial, like the monkey variant virus in the vaccine, and then they're calling that monkeypox, and so like we called that out as well. Like we need to like not. Oh yeah, and so if people are more immunocompromised or there's a virus that comes up that's not that's not like where these vaccines are not effective against, then I do also I'm urging people again to just like consider just like looking more at just like just waiting a little bit and not responding so much like in fear, because we are getting induced fear by multiple levels of media that's supposed to be telling us the truth, and multiple levels of government that are supposed to be telling the truth, and maybe they're just not getting the information that like thousands of people are sending them on a daily basis. Maybe they're not getting the phone calls that they receive, thousands of time on a daily basis. And again, these are not true, because I've been on the phone with people and tried to explain this, and it is what it is. But I just hope that we're a little bit more cautious, possibly for the like any kind of like pandemic response moving forward. With like again like assessing risk and all that stuff, and then saying that maybe the solution is also the problem. And on that note, I hope everyone has a great Sunday.